Hello, my dear friends. It's Mira here. Welcome back to Mira's English podcast. I hope that wherever you are right now, whether you are on your way to work, taking a quiet walk, or simply resting in your room, I hope you can find a moment of stillness with me today. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Today I want to talk about something that holds so many of us back. It is a quiet enemy. It doesn't look like fear. It doesn't look like laziness. In fact, it often looks like high standards. It looks like ambition. It looks like wanting the best for yourself. I'm talking about perfectionism. But more specifically, I want to talk about the antidote to perfectionism, a concept that changed my life, and I hope it can change yours too. It is called consistent imperfection. Have you ever waited for the perfect moment to start something? Maybe you bought a beautiful notebook to start journaling. The paper is smooth, the cover is pristine. You tell yourself, I will write in this every day. My handwriting will be neat. My thoughts will be profound. So, you write on the first day. It looks great. You write on the second day. But on the third day, you are tired. Your handwriting is messy. You cross out a word. And suddenly, the page looks ruined. The spell is broken. You stop writing. The notebook sits on your shelf, gathering dust, simply because you couldn't bear to make it messy. Or maybe it's with learning English. You tell yourself, I will study for 1 hour every single day at 6 a.m. And you do it, for 3 days. But on the 4th day, you oversleep. You wake up at 7 a.m. You feel guilty. You feel like you've failed the streak. So you think, well, this week is ruined. I'll start again next Monday. Does this sound familiar? If you are nodding your head right now, please know that you are not alone. I have been there so many times. We live in a world that glorifies the final result. We see the perfect Instagram photos, the fluent speeches, the successful businesses. We see the after picture, but we rarely see the messy, chaotic, imperfect middle. And because we only see perfection, we start to believe a dangerous lie. The lie is this: if I cannot do it perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. This is the all or nothing trap. It convinces us that our effort only counts if it is 100%. If we give 80% or 50% or, heaven forbid, 10%, it's worthless. But today, on this podcast, I want to offer you a different truth, a softer truth. It is better to do something imperfectly than to do nothing perfectly. Let's think about the math of consistency. Imagine person A. Let's call him the perfectionist. The perfectionist wants to learn English. He decides he must study for 2 hours a day. He creates a perfect schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he goes hard. He pushes himself. He studies for 6 hours total in 3 days. But by Thursday, he is exhausted. Life happens. His boss gives him extra work. He misses Thursday. He feels terrible. He feels like he fell off the wagon. So he skips Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday. By next week, he feels too ashamed to restart. Total hours studied in a month? Maybe 10 hours, followed by burnout. Now imagine person B. Let's call her the imperfectionist. She also wants to learn English, but she knows she is busy. She knows she gets tired. So she sets a different goal. She says, I will engage with English every day. Some days, I will study for 30 minutes. But on bad days, I will just listen to one song. Or I will just read one paragraph. Or I will just speak one sentence to myself in the mirror. Her goal isn't excellence. Her goal is simply showing up. Some days she does a great job. Some days, honestly, her study session is terrible. She is distracted. She forgets words. She only listens to a podcast for 5 minutes while washing dishes. It is messy. It is imperfect. But here is the magic. she doesn't quit because the bar is low enough for her to step over it even on her worst days. By the end of the month, she hasn't burned out. She has built a habit. And over a year, the imperfectionist will travel miles further than the perfectionist who is still waiting for the perfect Monday to start again. This is the essence of consistent imperfection. It means giving yourself permission to be bad at something, as long as you keep doing it. It means showing up on the days you don't feel like it, and accepting that your effort that day might only be 20%, and realizing that 20% is infinitely better than 0%. Think about a river. A river does not flow in a straight line. It twists, it turns, it hits rocks, it slows down, it speeds up. Sometimes it looks muddy, sometimes it looks clear, but it never stops flowing. It eventually reaches the ocean not because it was perfect, but because it was relentless. I want you to be like the river. But I know what you are thinking. I can hear the doubt in your mind. But Mira, if I practice imperfectly, won't I just learn bad habits? If I speak broken English, won't I always speak broken English? Don't I need to be strict with myself to improve? That is a valid fear. But let's look deeper into human psychology. Why do we really procrastinate? Why do we really quit? We often think we procrastinate because we are lazy, but psychological studies show that procrastination is actually an emotional regulation problem. It's not about time management, it's about emotion management. We procrastinate because the task feels too heavy, not physically heavy, but emotionally heavy. When you tell yourself, I must write a perfect essay, your brain feels fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. This fear activates the pain centers in your brain. So, to avoid the pain, your brain says, hey, let's watch Netflix instead. It's safer. Perfectionism creates pressure. Pressure creates fear. Fear creates avoidance. But when you embrace imperfection, you remove the pressure. When you say to yourself, I'm just going to write a really bad paragraph today. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be done. Suddenly, the fear evaporates. The task feels lighter. Your brain stops fighting you. And once you start, once you are in motion, you often find that you do better than you expected. But you never would have started if you were demanding perfection from the very first step. I want to share a small story with you. A few years ago, I wanted to start running. I wanted to be healthy. In my mind, a runner was someone who ran 5 kilometers every morning, sweat glistening, looking strong and fast. So I tried to be that person. I ran hard, my lungs burned, my legs hurt, and I hated every second of it. I managed to do it for 2 weeks, and then I stopped for 2 years. Why? Because the standard I set for myself was painful. Every time I thought about running, I remembered the pain. When I decided to try again, I made a deal with myself. I promised myself I would become a consistent imperfectionist. My rule was simple. I have to put on my running shoes and step outside the door. That's it. If I stepped outside and only ran for 2 minutes, that counts. Success. If I stepped outside and mostly walked, that counts. Success. If I looked terrible, ran slowly, and people looked at me, it doesn't matter. Success. Do you know what happened? There were days I only ran for 5 minutes. Truly. I ran to the end of the street and came back. But because it was so easy, I did it the next day, and the next. Slowly, without forcing it, 5 minutes became 10, 10 became 20. The running stopped being a test of my worth and started being just a part of my morning, like brushing my teeth. I wasn't a perfect runner, but I was a runner who ran, and that made all the difference. So, how do we apply this to your life right now in 2026? How do we use consistent imperfection to learn English or to pursue that dream you've been hiding in your heart? I want to introduce you to a concept I call the minimum viable day. In business, there is a term called MVP, minimum viable product. It means releasing a basic version of a product just to get it out into the world, instead of waiting years to make it perfect. You need to find your MVD, minimum viable day. Ask yourself, on my absolutely worst day, when I am tired, sick, sad, and busy, what is the tiny, tiny step I can still promise to do? Maybe for English, your MVD is listening to a podcast for 3 minutes while brushing your teeth. Maybe for writing, it is writing 1 sentence. Maybe for health, it is drinking 1 glass of water when you wake up. Define that floor. Make it so low that you cannot say no. And then, respect that floor. On the days you hit your MVD, celebrate it just as much as the days you do a lot. Because on those hard days, you are doing something more important than achieving a result. You are keeping the promise to yourself. You are reinforcing your identity. You are telling yourself, I am the kind of person who shows up, even when it's messy, even when it's small. And this shift in identity is crucial, because eventually the excitement will fade. We all know that feeling, don't we? The New Year energy. It usually lasts about 2 weeks. In the beginning, everything is fresh. You are motivated. You have a vision of your future self. But then comes what I call the middle slump. The middle slump is the long, quiet stretch of time between the excitement of starting and the glory of finishing. It is the Wednesday of your journey. It is the moment when you look at your progress and think, I have been doing this for a month, but I am still not fluent. Or, I have been running for weeks, but I still feel slow. This is the danger zone. This is where the perfectionist quits. Why? Because the perfectionist needs constant validation. They need to see perfect results immediately to feel good. And when the results are slow, they feel like they are wasting their time. But the imperfectionist? The imperfectionist survives the middle slump because they never promised themselves it would be exciting every day. They never promised perfection. They only promised presence. They know that a boring day still counts. They know that a messy practice session still counts. They understand a secret that nature has always known. Growth is often invisible. Think about a bamboo tree. When you plant a bamboo seed, you water it, you give it sunlight, you take care of it. For the first year, nothing happens, no sprout, just dirt. The second year, still nothing. The third year, nothing. If you were a perfectionist looking for immediate results, you would have stopped watering it long ago. You would have called it a failure. But under the soil, a massive root system is growing. It is building a foundation strong enough to hold what is coming. And then, suddenly, in the 5th year, the bamboo shoots up. It can grow over 20 meters in just 6 weeks. Was the growth sudden? No. The growth was happening every single day during those quiet, invisible years. Your English is like that. Your personal growth is like that. Just because you cannot see the flower yet doesn't mean the rain isn't working. So what happens when you do miss a day? Because you will. You are human. You will get sick. You will have a family emergency. Or honestly, you will just have a day where you feel lazy and watch TV for 5 hours. The perfectionist treats a missed day like a broken mirror. They look at it and say, "Oh no, the streak is broken. I ruined it. I might as well stop." This is called the "what the hell" effect in psychology. It's like eating 1 slice of pizza, feeling guilty, and then saying, "What the hell, I already broke my diet," and eating the whole box. The imperfectionist treats a missed day differently. They treat it like a stumble on a hiking trail. If you trip over a rock while hiking, do you lie down on the ground and say, "Well, I guess I live here now"? Do you turn around and walk all the way back to the bottom of the mountain? No, you dust off your knees. You maybe laugh at yourself a little, and you take the next step. I want to give you a rule for this. It is called the 2-day rule. If you miss one day, show yourself compassion. Be kind. Say, "It's okay, I needed a break." But try your best not to miss 2 days in a row. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. But even if you miss 2 days, or 3, or a week, please listen to me closely right now. You do not need to wait for a fresh start. You do not need to wait for next Monday. You do not need to wait for the first of the month. You do not need to wait for 2027. You can reset right now, at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday. The moment you decide to return to your practice, you have returned. The gap doesn't matter anymore. Don't let shame keep you away. Shame is a heavy coat. It makes it hard to move. The perfectionist wears the coat of shame. I haven't studied in a month. I am such a failure. The imperfectionist takes the coat off. I haven't studied in a month. That's okay. I will study for 5 minutes today. There is a beautiful quote by the writer G.K. Chesterton that I love. He said, "Anything worth doing is worth doing badly." Let that sink in. We are usually told, if a job is worth doing, it's worth doing well. But Chesterton was wise. He knew that for the most important things in life, loving people, learning, creating, healing, it is better to do them clumsily, messily, and badly than to not do them at all because you are scared of not being great. It is worth speaking bad English if it means you connect with another human being. It is worth writing a bad poem if it helps you understand your own heart. It is worth having a bad workout if it moves your body and clears your mind. So lower the bar. Lower it all the way to the floor. Make it so easy to win that you feel successful every day. I want to share a practical technique that helps me when I feel the perfectionism creeping back in, because it does come back. It is a voice that whispers, "You are not doing enough. Look at everyone else." When I hear that voice, I use a method called the 80% rule. When I sit down to record this podcast, or when I sit down to write, I tell myself, "Mira, you do not need to give 100% today. 100% is for emergencies. 100% is for Olympic athletes on the day of the final race. Today is just a Tuesday. Aim for 80%. Actually, sometimes I tell myself, aim for 70%. It feels counterintuitive. Aren't we supposed to always give our best? But here is the truth. Your best changes every day. Your best on a day when you are well rested and happy is different from your best on a day when you have a headache and are stressed. If you expect your happy best on your stress day, you are setting yourself up for failure. Accepting 70% allows you to keep moving. It prevents the paralysis of analysis. And often, paradoxically, when you aim for 70%, you relax. And when you relax, your creativity flows better. Your English flows better. You stop overthinking your grammar. You stop filtering every word. And you end up producing work that is actually quite good. Maybe even better than if you had stressed about it being perfect. So, my friends, as we move through this year, I invite you to embrace the mess. I invite you to be the person who writes with messy handwriting. I invite you to be the person who speaks English with an accent and makes grammar mistakes, but laughs and keeps talking. I invite you to be the person who exercises for 10 minutes in their pajamas. Because that person, the messy, imperfect, consistent person, that is the person who actually changes their life. That is the person who looks back at the end of the year and sees a forest of bamboo growing, while the perfectionist is still staring at a packet of seeds, waiting for the perfect weather to plant them. Now, I want to give you a small challenge for this week, a gentle challenge. I don't want you to set a big goal. I don't want you to promise to change your life. I want you to pick one thing you have been avoiding because you were afraid of doing it wrong. Maybe it's recording your voice in English. Maybe it's drawing. Maybe it's apologizing to someone. And I want you to do it badly, intentionally badly. Do it quickly. Do it without editing. Do it just to say you did it. And then, after you do it badly, notice how you feel. You will likely feel a strange sensation. It is a mix of relief and pride. You will realize that the world did not end because you made a mistake. The sky did not fall because your drawing was ugly or your English sentence was grammatically incorrect. But you did it. You moved. You broke the paralysis. Make it a game. Ask yourself, how messy can I be today and still get the job done? Treat your perfectionism like a strict teacher who has left the room. Now you can play. You can experiment. You can make a mess on the page. Because here is the beautiful secret about quantity and quality. Quantity leads to quality. There is a famous story about a ceramics class. The teacher divided the students into two groups. Group A was told, "You will be graded on the quantity of work. If you make 50 pounds of pots, you get an A." Group B was told, "You will be graded on the quality of work. You only need to make one pot, but it must be perfect to get an A." At the end of the semester, a surprising thing happened. The best pots, the most beautiful, creative, technically perfect pots, all came from Group A, the quantity group. Why? Because while Group B sat around thinking, planning, and worrying about making one perfect pot, Group A was busy making pots. They made ugly pots. They made lopsided pots. They made pots that cracked. But with every bad pot, they learned. Their hands got smarter. They understood the clay better. Through the process of consistent imperfection, they accidentally achieved perfection. So, if you want to speak perfect English one day, you must be willing to speak bad English thousands of times first. If you want to live a perfect life, well, there is no such thing. But if you want a rich life, a full life, you must be willing to live messy days. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want you to zoom out. Look at the year 2026 ahead of you. Don't look at it as a test you have to pass. Look at it as a mosaic. Do you know what a mosaic is? It is a beautiful picture made of thousands of tiny, broken pieces of colored glass or stone. If you hold just one piece of glass in your hand, it might look sharp. It might look rough. It might look like nothing special. That is one imperfect day. But when you step back and look at the whole year, all those jagged, imperfect little days come together to form a magnificent picture. Some pieces are dark, the sad days. Some pieces are bright, the happy days. Some are dull, the boring days. But you need all of them to make the picture whole. If you threw away the pieces that weren't perfect, you would have a blank wall. You would have nothing. Your consistency is the glue that holds these pieces together. My dear friends, I know it is scary to lower your standards. I know it feels safer to hide behind perfectionism, because if you don't try, you can't fail. But I promise you, the view from the arena, the view from the messy, sweaty, imperfect middle of doing the work, is so much more beautiful than the view from the sidelines. So, this week, be brave enough to be average. Be brave enough to be a beginner. Be brave enough to let your voice shake and speak anyway. Trust the process. Trust the math of showing up. Trust that your 20% effort on a hard day is the bridge that carries you to your best days. You are doing better than you think. You are growing in ways you cannot see yet. Just keep watering the bamboo. If this episode spoke to your heart today, I would love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments or just whisper it to yourself. What is one thing you are going to do imperfectly this week? Are you going to write a bad poem? Are you going to have a 5-minute English conversation? Let's celebrate our imperfections together, because that is where the real magic is. Thank you for listening to Mira's English podcast. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. Remember, progress, not perfection. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, take care of your precious, imperfect self. Goodbye for now.